call upon stage our next presenter, Mr. Marc Deyda, Head of Strategy and Communication Battery, Siemens AG, to enlighten us with some details on overcoming major obstacles in the battery industry for a fast and secure market ramp-up. Over to you, Mr. Marc.
Namaste. So happy to be here and to show you how we overcome already some obstacles in preparation of a battery plant. So there are a lot of things ongoing in the battery market and it's volatile, and therefore we have to show and see the independencies we have on the product level, on the production, and also on the machine equipment side. And that's what I want to show you right now. What do we need usually for a battery plant? So definitely motivated employees, educated employees, and this is really to be considered here in India as well. So then definitely the right product, which meets the customer requirements. Then the customer itself, if you have a product and nobody is using it or don't want to have it, so means first customer search, first financing, so to secure not only the ramp up or the production site itself, also the ramp up time, because it sometimes takes 1.5 years, and there's a lot of raw material which you use during the ramp up, and this has to be avoided normally, but consider it as a financing aspect. Then the infrastructure, okay, in India I hope there's enough space here, so you will not have huge problems. And especially the equipment that will be installed inside this production plant, right? So machine building from Asia, from Europe, from the US, or hopefully also from India itself. And all ends up in a battery plant. And I want to show you just how this dependent to each other. So when we talk about automation, digitalization, so there are a lot of buzzwords ongoing. So everybody's talking about AI, data-driven machines, edge computing. But honestly, what does it mean? Buzzwords are buzzwords, but it has to be connected to a process. And therefore, I wanted to show you how we approach this development, for example, from the product. So the product, if you have a look on the business processes of that development, so it all starts with the chemistry development, then the cell design, for example, cell performance engineering, and much more business stops, process stops here. But I want to concentrate on that. And we have developed batteries with our simulation tools and have reached a faster charging time of 50%. So that means there's always an end result which you want to meet. And with these steps and also with our support, you will be able to reach that. So if the product is defined, then you have to define the equipment. So there's a process mixing or stacking. So that's a process idea, and right now it's a challenge to develop the machine. So this is also a business process from the machine builder point of view. So you see, I can go a little bit faster. So you see, one step back, sorry. You see it starts also with the design of the machine, or how to emulate the process inside the machine. That's a challenge. After the design concept, it has to be automatized, so engineered. So engineers have to program this machine or have to generate automatically all of the design, the code, the basis code. And then doing the virtual commissioning, so in an environment to reduce already the risk to fail on the real site and also to reduce the commissioning at all. Then after in use, doing predictive analysis or optimize the machine in production. This has to be considered. So, and we reduce the engineering time or the design of the machine up to 50%. So next is how to implement the machines inside a plant. So the battery plant, the space is limited, especially in other countries like Europe. And this has to be planned in a really intensive way. So you have to connect the machines, you have to plan the material flow, the energy consumption has to be reduced, and therefore you start with the process planning and then interconnect the machines, kind of line integration, connect these machines, getting values out of this, because there are always dependencies inside these processes. And finally, starting a closed loop management, so means you need first production transparency, then doing the closed loop, So means production data are refeeding the design, and then you can start optimizing and want to meet 100% machine capacity. So therefore, scrap rate is always a common challenge. We reduce the quality, we increase the quality up to 30% with these methods. And now I show you concrete, what did we do? So when I talked about the product, so this 50% charging time reduction. So in the virtual environment, starting from the chemistry development, so finding the right recipe, then designing the cell, so it doesn't matter which kind of cell it is, prismatic, cylindric, or pouch cell, and meeting then the requirements out of the automotive customers or energy storage customers, for example, like you can see here inside the battery pack. And these have all different, you see it here, processes and performance data. And this has to be synchronized. And in the development, you can then even simulate on how I can avoid a thermal runaway, right? This is a really chemical process which is not easy to control, but safety is always first for the customer. So you can then use these data to analyze the whole life cycle of the battery. So it means if it's in performance state, like later in the application, energy storage or in the car, you can then refeed the recipe development and the design development of the battery. So always optimization of the product. When it comes to the machine, what we mentioned before, the equipment, so you see here on the right side a winding model, the winding machine, and a winding machine is sometimes so complex, it's more than 100 axes or 80 axes you have to synchronize. And that you can already do in a virtual environment. So you can combine the mechanical construction with the kinematic, so it means movement of the axis or of the tangents and of the waves. So additionally, you can then also develop the code, the engineering code. You can optimize already the position of the foils. And finally, if you have then, and I think you asked this once, right, standardization, you mentioned it before in the other presentation. So when you have developed the model, it has to be built up in real. When you build it up in real, you have to standardize up to the whole value chain. This is important. So from mixing, over coating, until the formation. And there, standardization is coming in. When you standardize, so the design, and if you standardize the programming, so you're either available to interconnect the machines, have a common throughput of the data, can better analyze and find also faster anomalies inside the production line. That's important why standardization is necessary. So on the last picture below, you see a running machine, so with different tensions, and you see the foil which is going through, so a kind of throughput of the foil. And in this case, the pressure of the foil was too high, so it would be cut if you continue like this. And that can be already symbolized also before building this in real. So to avoid this cutting of the foil, right? These data have to be met always with the production data. So you have a design model and you have your parameters, your requirements implemented, but everything is different in real production. So we refeed always these data back in the model and start optimizing the model. And nearly the idea is to get 100% optimization process steps. Okay, when it comes to the production side, so we talked about the product battery, we talked about the equipment, the machines, but everything has to become together in a production side. And here you can see that we have mapped the whole value chain and also getting, for example, the OE data out of this. So that is when you use standardization, you're faster to getting these kind of data and also have the right definition of these data and can analyze it faster and can then also act in real. So that means You have a report, you have a dashboard, and then you can optimize the process because you got maybe more with a scrap rate out of this. So this is an advantage that you have always the transparency also over the plan. You see always what energy is consumed. You see also the raw material use. So Philip was talking about tracing and traceability, which comes to battery process or battery passport. And that's something you need the data out of the machines, right, in real time. And that's what we have done here. And Siemens at all, so what we are providing, we are not a battery cell producer. We are also not an equipment producer, so not a machine builder, but we are serving these two stakeholders to have that ecosystem supplied. So it means with electrification, automation, and digitalization solutions. As well from end to end, from raw material until the whole recycling of the battery. And additionally, this is quite important if you ramp up a new plant. So we are already involved in the beginning of this project and being always aligned with the customer until the production is running and even over that. So in maintenance purposes. And definitely, we are a global sustainable partner. So we hope that we live also 100 years. So myself not, but my company definitely. And finally, what we started right now, quite deeper, is that we have process know-how internally. So that means we are not just providing PLC or HMI. No, we know also how the process is working and what we can optimize. So in some cases, we have a solution, for example, to reduce the formation time or even finding out moisures inside the coating. And that's it, what we can offer for you and for the Indian market. And therefore, I would say thank you for all your attention and happy to answer all the questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deyda, for such an enlightening presentation. May I please request the audience to take the questions forward in a one-to-one personal conversation, because as we are running short of time, may I please take the honor to share a token of appreciation on behalf of Informa Markets India to Mr. Deyda.